Is your entire coin collection in a Ziploc bag just like this? It does not need to be that way. In this video, we're going to go over a lot of the common foreign coin supplies that you can purchase. We're going to look at some things that you should buy. We're going to look at some things you probably should not buy. We're going to talk about some of the mistakes that I made early on in my coin collecting days. And we're also going to take a look at the way that I have organized my coin collection. Some of these things might even make great gifts for the coin collectors in your life. So what is the first thing that every coin collector needs as they get started? Well, coins. If you don't have any coins, you should probably buy some coins first. For this video, we're going to assume that you already have some coins. But if you don't, I think the best place for you to go look is go on eBay, find someone who is selling coins by the pound at a good price, let's say $12 a pound. And it's even better when they have pictures of the specific lot they're selling instead of them just having a big pile of coins and saying, we've got 10 lots that we've made. I prefer buying from the dealers who have the specific coins you're buying pictured. Even if it's not the best picture, you know exactly what you'll have a pretty good idea about what you're going to get. And that's probably the best place to start. You'll get some of the most common things out of the way that you don't have to pay for later. So now that we have the coins out of the way, by the way, I am a foreign coin specialist. So a lot of this is going to apply to U.S. coins as well, but I'm taking this from the approach of someone who is trying to buy a little bit of everything from everywhere. So where would you buy the supplies? That's a pretty good question. I think the best place to buy supplies are from shows. Every coin show I've been to has had exactly one dealer selling supplies. And so if they offered up two spots, they would compete with each other. They don't like that. But even the small shows that I've gone to have had at least one dealer. But if there's no coin show in your area, the second best place to go is going to be your local coin shop. They usually have a pretty good variety. Although my coin shop does not have the Sacagawea dollar flips, they don't want to put as many in stock. And also the prices are going to be a little bit higher. They're still going to be reasonable, but they charge a little bit more at the coin store because they are running a business. They need to keep the lights on. But if you don't have a coin show or a coin shop in your area, the next place to go is going to be the internet, I guess. And so down in the links below, I don't like advertising the stuff that I'm selling, but I do have links to things in an Amazon shop that I think will work. I don't know how well this is going to work if you were trying to buy these and you're outside the United States, but I've at least linked to some products and you can take a look and see what they have. So if you're just starting out and you're only going to purchase one thing, I suppose that one thing you're going to need to buy are the 2x2 cardboard flips, where they usually come in a stack of 100 that will look like this. And as a personal preference, most of the time they look like cardboard on the inside when they fold together. Personally, I don't know why the ones that are white on the inside and the outside just seem to fold better. That's kind of a personal preference, but they seem to be a little bit better. The cheap ones, if you fold it when they fold together, the hole doesn't really line up, and it might get that's kind of an exaggeration. But if it doesn't line up and it looks like that, then you've got kind of a cheap flip. One type of cardboard flip I do not recommend is the peel and stick cardboard flips. The advantage of those is you just peel the a little adhesive away from it, so when you fold it together, it sticks in there together. There are a couple of downsides to it. If you don't get it lined up just right, then you kind of have to break it out of there and throw it away and then start over. But then the second problem, and I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. Let's zoom in on a little bit. There is some, on this one, there is some goo that is just kind of showing around the edges on here. I've seen some that are a lot worse than this one, but over time, some of the goo might just slip out of the between the cardboard and actually get close to your coin. Is it the end of the world for a coin that is not worth that much. It probably won't make that big of a difference, but I just have always avoided those. I've gone to the ones that you have to staple. So next, let me get into a mistake that I have made. Originally, I only wanted to buy one size of these flips because my collection wasn't that big. So I got a really large size of flips. This is the United States half-dollar size, which is quite a big coin, not quite as big as the crown. And then I thought, hey, it'll keep the coin safe. And this is what happened. You've got a coin that rolls around on the inside of your flip, and maybe it's not going to hurt anything, but that's just not very good of a way to keep your coin. It might not be economical if you are just starting out, but I really think it's best for you to have a little of every size. So something as small as a United States dime all the way up to the crown size or Morgan dollar size, which would be a little bit of a larger one than that one. So it's really good to have everything in between, so that way you find the flip that is just barely larger than your coin, and that's the one that you're going to use. Some people sell these flips that have a square window in them. I can't really think of a situation where that would be beneficial. Maybe in some other hobby, maybe that would work for stamps, but you run the same risks of the coin rolling around inside of there, and so I don't really like those either. They also make smaller flips for small coins. Also, as a personal preference, I don't like these either. They don't really fit in the pages or the pockets of most albums. And so if you buy it that way, that's one thing, but I would not put my smaller coins. I want just all of my coins to be the same size flips. Other ones you'll see on rare occasions, they do make flips specifically for smashed pennies, if that is your thing. They also make ones that will hold 3 coins at once if they're small. I think usually you'll see this for people who like United States pennies, one from each of the 3 mints, but most of the time I don't really have a need for these. So when you buy them in bulk, they usually come out to $3 per 100, so that makes them 3 cents each. In my Amazon link, I've got someone that has 100 flips in 10 different sizes, so it's 1,000 flips for, I think it was about $16. So that's kind of a lot to purchase in flips, but that should last you for a long time. So now that you need your flips, you need a way of stapling it. So do you go to just any store and buy the first stapler you see, or do you go on Amazon and buy the cheapest or best rated stapler you have? No, that can be a problem. And I'll show you why. I made that mistake. This is a stapler that I used for stapling some of my coins for a long time. A regular stapler does not staple flat. And you can see that the staples actually stick up out of there. And eventually that can cause problem. It can wear down your pages. It can wear down, it can scratch the coin that is right next to it. So you don't want to do that. Instead, you want to find a flat stapler. The one I've linked to in Amazon down below is called the Max Flat Clinch Black Standard Stapler. And with those, it staples flat where you do not have a gap that raises up off of that. So that is a specialized stapler. Not every store will carry it, so you might have to look on Amazon, or hopefully a dealer will have that kind of stapler for you. So while I'm talking about staplers, the next question is how many staples will you use per flip? Let me pause and say that make sure you purchase staples that work with your stapler. The stapler that I listed down below it uses regular SF4 staples. So the staples themselves are not any different to staple flat, but just make sure you get the kind that matches your stapler. I could not link to that down below because it's that box of 5,000 staples cost less than $3. So they're not going to let me link to it. But where should you staple? Some people staple on all 4 corners. The way that I do it is on three sides like this, and this is kind of a personal preference, but this is the side where the of the hinge of the flip, so I'll staple one on the other three sides like that. However, some people have decided that if you're only going to use three staples, you should kind of make them in a triangle shape like the one seen here. It's just kind of a personal preference. Also, people argue, should it be closer to the coin or further away from the coin? If it's further away from the coin, you do have a slight risk of the coin falling out, but if it's too close to the coin, you run the risk of the staple getting a little bit rusty and possibly hurting your coin. Is that a big deal? It doesn't happen too much. But I have seen people out there who only use two staples per coin like this one. If you're going to do it, that's probably the way to do it, because your hinge on this coin is up here, but they put two like that. Something you would not want to do is just one staple per flip like this one right here. It's not going to take a lot of effort for that to come loose, especially if I force it like that, and then that coin falling out. That seems like a recipe for disaster. And then how do you label your coins? I'm just picking up one at random here, but I always personally, just whatever you do, keep doing it the same way every time. I write the country up here, the denomination on this side, the year right here, and if it's an Arabic year or a different calendar, I put our calendar and their calendar. Over here, I'll put the catalog number, the KM, the Y number, whatever you have. Other people add the metal, the mintage, will point out certain things, whether it's a proof. If there's an error, they'll point it out. So lots of things that you can write on your flip. Just learn to be consistent about it. When it comes to crown or dollar-sized coins, sometimes I don't really like to use the flips that are that big for it. That doesn't leave a lot of room on the coin. It makes the edges here very flimsy. There's not space to write almost any details. And then if you put the staples on the same spot, it gets kind of rough. Sometimes on these I will staple in the corners more than on this very thin area right here. There are some other options for your larger coins. Sometimes people will get these type of round airtight cases for them that has the little strip of foam that goes all the way around them. Those are kind of expensive, so you'd only want to do that for your best coins like this 1 ounce silver coin that I've got. Another option are these clear 2x2 flips. You can put the coin in one side and then kind of close it up like that. And then you can take a piece of paper. Oftentimes they'll come with little square pieces of paper. You can write all your details and keep the coin like that. Here's an example. So here is, that doesn't match what I have written on here, but we've got an old 1807 United States half dollar here, and so that is, it's not an example of a large coin in there, but I like doing that for my crown size coins just because it's so hard and unwieldy to deal with those large cardboard flips on something like that. So now let me give you my next warning. Make sure that with these flips, it is very important that you get the ones that are free from plastic, free from PVC. You want a flip that when you hold it, kind of returns its shape. It's kind of crinkly. If you get one of these that's just almost feels like rubber, stay away from these. These will hurt your coins for a long time. Now, a lot of products in the 60s and 70s made these rubbery PVC plastic, rubbery feeling flips. What they didn't realize was that's going to hurt your silver. That's going to turn your coins green. You do not want to put an expensive $1,000 coin into one of these little flips, put it in a safe deposit box, come back in 10 years and find out that your valuable coin is now worth melt value because it turned green. These will hurt your coin. You should not use them. Look for the ones that do not have PVC. Hopefully all the good coin dealers will not have them, but I keep getting coins come to me in these things, so they're still out there. And a lot of the products that are made in China is where you're going to find most of these, because they're caring more about making them cheap than making them quality and good for your collection. So the next question is, what are you going to put your flips in now that you've got them ready to go? Well, if you don't want to get into pages, you might just find one of these old school coin boxes. This one is just the lid of one, but it works just fine. And you'll sometimes see dealers that have lots of coins for sale and flips, and they don't want to pay for albums. They'll just have boxes of these. Your coins just slip in it. As a starter, that would be a good place to hold your first, let's say, 1 to 200 coins in just a simple little box like this. Although it's kind of an older thing, it might be kind of hard to find. But it's not very expensive. So now you're going to need something else to put your coins in. A lot of people start with these individual pages of, they're called the 20 pocket pages. You got 4 columns, 5 rows, can hold 20 coins. And my personal favorites are the ones like this that have the little notch right here, where when the coin is in there, you can just push on the bottom spot right there and the coin can come out. That's a nice feature that not all of them have that, but that is one thing that I like to look for. Pages, if you buy them one at a time, are usually going to cost you about 75 cents. But if you buy a whole box of them in bulk, you can get them down to about 30 cents each. Most of them should have at least the standard 3 holes here for a typical binder. Sometimes you'll have more holes for specific products that are for sale, but you got to make sure that it has the typical 3-ring binder holes on them. So this is where I'm going to start to show off part of my collection. They do make specific albums specifically for coin collections. They will actually say coins printed on the front. I don't feel it necessary to pay twice as much just because it has the word coins written on the front. Instead, what I did for all of these was I just went to the nearest office supply store and I color code my coins here by continent. So we've got Europe in white, we've got America's North and South in the dark blue. Over here, Asia is in the purple. I don't have my my Africa over here because it wouldn't fit on this one shelf, but Australia and nearby islands is in the pink one. And since some of these albums got kind of unwieldy, so I put everything that is like Russia or a former Soviet state in this red binder, but that was just because some of the others were getting a little bit unwieldy. So here's my Africa binder. If you can see the shape of the ring that's in here, it's almost a D shape. If you find one that looks perfectly round, that's not too good for your coin albums. It's kind of gets kind of tough when the album gets really full. So you want to find the ones, and most of the good albums are going to be like that. And this one even has a shape of the ring on here to show you that it's kind of that D shape right here. Another thing you want to look out for are the size of your albums. They come as small as 1 inch and as large as 3 inches. They might make some that are even bigger than that. I personally haven't bought anything larger than a 2-inch binder for this because, not that it's too heavy for me, but it just, when it gets sort of bulky, it gets really difficult to sort it and organize it, and just it gets kind of a mess after if it gets too big. I specifically waited till I got to this point of the video. There are flips that are extra large flips. This one is a flip specifically for crown size coins. So you take the 2x2 and see that it's actually 2.5 by 2.5. That might be easier to work with if you're selling them, but then that's not going to fit in your standard page because the pocket is not big enough. And so I've bought this coin like this from the dealer who used this, but if I want this in this album, I'm going to have to punch it out of here, and I haven't done that yet. But you're going to need a different size page that's harder to find if you want to do that. I will say that I bought this page at, sometimes you'll find dealers that sell used pages. This is why this one is so grimy. I haven't used it yet. I paid $0.25 for it because it was used. It has a couple of tears on it, but for $0.25, this is just kind of a staging area for my collection and not a permanent home for anything. That's another way of going cheap. So if you want to work with something smaller, there are options. This is an 80 coin album. So there are 10 pages. Let's say there's 8 pages and 10 per page on here. So it's called the Harris brand 80 pocket album. These are actually made by Whitman, even though it says Harris on it right here. And so you can usually find these for about $10 or so. I have a lot of them because I found someone that was selling them off for cheap once. And so I think they make great ideas. But it depends on what you want to do. It's a lot easier to find 60 coin albums. So on this one, we've got 6 to a page and 10 pages on here. And so these are a little bit lighter to deal with. When you go on Amazon, I have one linked on here, but there are down below in the description, but there are lots of different companies that make these. Now's a good time to point out that I gave you a strong warning about the PVC that could damage your coin. Well, almost all of these pages and albums use that PVC. So you only want to put your coin in here if it's in the flip. You do not want to put your coins in here loose. Now, of course, they're just going to roll around if it's in something like this that's this big, but they do make pages that are a lot tinier, or they'll make albums that can hold a larger number of coins because they're all just little PVC pockets. And you don't put your coin in the flip, you just put the coin into the page, and that's how it's supposed to stay. And you run the risk of doing damage with that. One way of identifying it is there will be a little flap that is on top of the flip so that the coin does not fall out when you turn it upside down. So if you found a page that had those flaps on the top, that gets kind of tough to work with when you're pushing the coin out of here. So you don't want one with that flap on it. And even with these, there are a couple of varieties. These are what I would call the top-loading coins, or pockets. So you do put your coin in from the top, like this one. But they also have one where you load them from the middle. And let me find an example and show you. This one is a different brand. And when you look on here, the little notch to push them out are on the side. And so that's a little bit, they load from the center right here. So that's a little less inconvenient to put them in here, but there's no risk of you turning it upside down and shaking it and the coin falling out. So it just depends on, do you like that style or not? It took me a while to kind of warm up to it, but now that I have some like that, I kind of like it. That these coins are not going to fall out, but they're a little bit harder to put coins in and take them out. So that is one thing to watch out for. Another thing that I've seen sometimes is these, and this could be true for a page or any of these albums, sometimes I just can't get the flip in right side up. And so like this is an old flip in this album. I had to stick this one in sideways just to get it in there to flip. But over time, I might be able to come back and then make it right side up after it stretches out just a little bit. Something new in this space are even larger albums. There is a company that I've seen on Amazon called Uncle Paul. That's what the UP stands for here. They make a 120 coin album, but this one is a 200 coin album. And so it has 50 or 20 coin pages built into it. And so as you can see here, this is where I've got my Canada collections, because I've got 200 Canadian coins, so I figured that this is a good spot for this particular part of my collection. And so I really like these for the price. It's actually a better deal than if you just purchase the 60 pocket ones usually go for about $7. This one, sometimes it's listed on Amazon for 20, but today when I looked, this one was at $15. And so I've linked this one down below as well. But also looking at Amazon yesterday, I found some other that I would consider novelty coin holders. I don't have any to show you that are examples of this, but they make some that are fire resistant. That sounds neat. There's one that you pick it up and it has a handle. There's another one that has a zipper that goes all the way around it. So when you pick it up, nothing's going to fall out. There's another one that came with a slipcase that you can slide the entire album into a slipcase and it looks nice and pretty on your shelf. The problem that I found with all of those is none of them that I found actually held flips. They just held individual coins in it. So you could be thinking, well, my coin's not going to, may not be hurt in a fire if it's in the middle of the house. It'll save my coins, but the PVC might be damaging your coins anyway. And then it wasn't worth paying extra for the fire-resistant album. So I would steer clear from all of those. Another product you'll sometimes see are coin tubes like this one. I don't think these serve a whole lot of a purpose, at least for not what I'm trying to do. I think the best use of something like this is the people who like to stack junk silver. So let's say that you have a lot of United States 90% silver dimes or quarters. If I had 40 quarters and I didn't know what to do with them, I would just use this tube. But otherwise, I don't really think those make a lot of sense. Next up, some people like the Whitman folders. So here I have a Canadian small cent collection. So if you're the kind of person, and I'm not, but if you're the kind of person that wants to have one of every example of a specific coin, here you go. This was supposed to be every Canadian cent that was a small cent that was made starting in, let's see, 1920. And this one went all the way to, well, it was published or printed in 1957, because that's the newest date on here. But there was a few for a little bit more. These are good for if you want one of everything. And that's not usually the way I collect, but these are made by the Whitman Publishing Company. In America, they are easy to find for U.S. coins. They're kind of difficult to find for world coins, so you'd have to start digging some. Next up, something that's a little bit nicer would be the typeset albums. And so this one was made by Littleton. Whitman makes these. Dansko used to make some of the nicest ones that you'll find them. They are not around anymore. They call it archival quality. The point here is that you get one of every coin, one of every different kind of type. So again, in America, it's easier to find the type collection. So this one actually belongs to my father-in-law for this video, but he's got, this one is specifically for 20th century U.S. type coins. So it's got one of every penny, one of every nickel, one of every dime, one of every quarter, and then kind of hard to flip the page over, but then we've got the halves and the dollars on here. So if you really want to have one country that looks really nice, he put a lot of proof coins into this set. So there is a lot of nice shiny looking coins on here. So there's some good stuff in here. And so these are nice coins, and so he wanted a nice collection for it. And so with that last Whitman folder, you just kind of put your thumb on it and push it in place. But on here, there are these little plastic windows that cover up the coin. So if you want to put a coin in here, you have to slide this out, gently push the coin into place, and then slide the little window covering back in its place. And so if you are really into one country, you can find the album from that one country. And this is probably the nicest way of displaying it. But it is a little bit pricier just to buy the album. But if you've got a nice collection from that country, this might be the way to go. Some people like coin wallets. I personally don't. But this little thing could hold, let's see, 12 coins. So if you've got 12 really nice coins that you want to take with you to a local club meetup or something like that, This would be a simple little way of carrying these around. The dealer actually just wanted to get rid of them and he gave this to me for free. So now let's go back to my personal collection. I showed you these albums earlier, and I have it organized by continent. You'll laugh if I told you where I put Turkey. So, but I also have a lot of these 60 and 80 count albums. And so by now I have a pretty big collection. I didn't start this way. It's just as it's expanded over the years, I started buying some more of these bigger albums. So once I get to about 40 or 50 coins of a specific country, I pull them out of these albums and then I put it in one of these albums. And so I will separate the countries. So otherwise the Europe collection would have gotten so large. So I pulled out all the Britain, I pulled out all the France and Spain and Germany and whatnot. And so each of those countries got its own a little album on here. And so this right here is about 80% of my collection, and it fits on 2 shelves. Not everything. I've got a few more up here as well, but that's how I do it. So a lot of what I'm going over today is where are you in your coin collecting journey? If you've been at it for 25 years like I have, you have more ways that you've held your collection. But then there's also a question on how do you track what you have? If you're younger, you might be doing this digitally. And for some things, I track in Excel. Just because I use Excel all the time, I can pull it up. There are websites, there are probably apps to allow you to organize your collection. But really, I think the best way of doing it is with these gigantic Kraus catalogs. Right here is my catalog that I have been using for a long time. And it looks like it's been used for a long time. But I actually come in here and I mark the coins that I have in my collection, since I'm trying to get one of every coin. So I'll come in here and mark it. And originally I didn't put the collection on it. And honestly, the grade that I put on here isn't really right, but how much it would mean to me to upgrade it. So this catalog is called the Kraus Publishing Catalog. This specific one was made in 1998, which means it had prices through 1996. These are expensive, and the most recent one is the 2020 edition, I believe, and I think that one is sold out. And so if you want a copy of it, I think brand new, these usually, on their website, they list them for about $60 or $70. But since the 2020 edition is sold out, to get your hands on one of those, the cheapest price on Amazon today was $175. Most people do not need to spend $175 on this album, unless for some reason you need to have the most recent prices on a lot of these coins. Now, for me, this is where I track my coins. This is not where I try to establish the value of anything. But the nice thing is it has pictures of most every coin on here. And that's why I have it, is to have a picture of the coin, have the years. It has commentary on the country. It has commentary on the coins if there's something worth noting about it. And so I have found no reason to update this specific coin. However, it's starting to get ragged. There are pages that have been torn out and have gotten torn and ripped and folded weird. I might have to replace this one pretty soon, but I'm not going to buy the most recent version. Now, they make these catalogs 1 century at a time. So in 1998, they made it 1901 to present, but eventually they made these 1901 to 2000. And that's where you're going to want to start. If you were to buy a large lot of coins, there's a pretty good chance that 80% of them came from the 1900s. So if you can only get one catalog, this is the one where you're going to want to start. And then the newest one, the ones that are since the year 2001, change so often that the most recent copy of that is so thick of a book that I don't even own a modern one. However, I did go out and buy the 1801 album, so this is the second one. They do also make a 1700s and a 1600s. And so It's really nice to have these, but if you're going to buy one, let me give you a trick. And again, this is only for unless you need to have the most recent prices. And in fact, my album silver was $4.25 an ounce when I bought that, so the prices on everything are just way off, especially the silver coins. But my recommendation to you is go on Amazon, search for Standard Catalog World Coins, not the year, just search for Kraus Standard Catalog World Coins, and go through them and find who has the used one at the cheapest price. You can probably find one for under $20, but let me give you another hint. If you, and I've linked down to the 2005 edition below, if you can find one that was made up until about 2006, it has not only the 1900s, but it has things up until a little bit newer. So this one has not only all of the 1900s, but it's got a bonus couple of years in it. And so if you could pick, if I were to just pick one, I would start with the 2006 catalog because it's going to have 2005 coins in it. And so it's a little bit thicker, but this is where I would start. And if I have to update it, if my old one falls apart, this is going to be the one that I use. And so maybe you don't like the paper copy. I was going to say this is as thick as a phone book, but today's kids may not know what a phone book is. If you prefer a digital copy, the Kraus people do sell it in PDF form as well. And you can buy CDs of it on eBay. So I did buy the CD version off of eBay. This is the 2019 version, so I bought this a few years ago. And so it looks just like the book, except you scroll through it. There are some pros and some cons, but I think one of the good pros on here is, let's say that you needed to, just to pick something, this Czechoslovak Federal Republic, you can just click on it and it'll take you right to the page where that country starts. So that's really nice. There's also, they have some bookmarks on the side where you can go to the country index over here. It'll take you back to this page, but then there's also this listings by country where you can scroll down and find it over here. So that is kind of convenient. However, I found this to be worse if you, sometimes it's just easier to flip to a page than it is to just start scrolling through here. And then especially in the 1800s, if you pull up the countries that used to belong to Germany, you can be scrolling for a very long time until you find the page that you need. But this is another option, and I want to make sure that you saw it. So that's how I have my collection organized. Let's talk about some other things that you might want. How about cleaning supplies? Do you want to clean off that coin? No, you do not want to clean your coin. Now, when I was a novice, I decided, hey, I'm going to buy some metal cleaner. And I started off just by taking some very old Lincoln pennies that had turned brown, and I cleaned them, and they looked ugly. So instead of nice and shiny, they're going to look ugly, just kind of like this one. It might have some shine to it, but that's not the way that this 10 yen is supposed to look. So I do not recommend you clean your coins, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Other people have purchased a rock tumbler to clean their coins, and it kind of does the same thing. It still comes out, it might make it look shinier, but it's going to be all scratched up, and so you don't want to do that either. Another product that you see a lot is Nicodate. This is a product that will go in and for a buffalo nickel where the date's worn off, you sprinkle a little bit on where the date ought to be, and you kind of clean around there. So the Nicodate eats away some of the metal around the date so you can see the date on a coin where the date is too well worn. Again, some people like it because you can then see the date on your coin, but that ruins it. Something else that they'll sell are jeweler's loops. So these are the little tiny little essentially magnifying glass that you can use to put up to your coin. I sort of have one right here for stamps. This one's for stamps. It isn't going to look like the one that the coin dealers sell, but this one has a little light that's built into it, and is more used for stamps. But it's kind of a neat way of getting a closer look at how your coin is. Some people will purchase cotton gloves or a little cloth to set your coins on. With what I deal with, that's kind of overkill because I'm not touching $1,000 coins or anything like that. So I don't particularly use them. You want to be careful with a cloth. You'll run the risk of wanting to clean it. So uh, I have on a couple of times in the past taken an eyeglass cleaner, one of those little microfiber cloths, and try to wipe fingerprints off of a cloth. But even still, that's dangerous because you can end up scratching the coin. So watch out for that. Some people like to have USB microscopes. And so that would be great if you wanted to start your own YouTube channel. You could just record video with your microscope, see your coin nice and large on the screen, just like it was that one. They don't come with microphones, though, so that would be a drawback. But if you just wanted to take photos or of your entire inventory, that might be a way of doing it, is with a USB microscope. There are also some tools for people that want to demonstrate whether or not their coins are legitimate, especially for something that's higher end. For those people, you would want a scale, a little micro scale that can get to the 1/100th of a gram. Then you would also want a caliper. This is going to be an instrument you would use to measure the width of a coin and the thickness of a coin. And so it looks like it can get small, get large, and you can actually see the thickness and the width of your coin with something like that. And then also people sell a specialized magnet for looking at whether or not your coin is magnetic. I don't know why you would need to use the specialty magnets that they sell when this fridge magnet works just fine. And it's cute because this magnet looks like a coin from the United States state of Kentucky. So if I wanted to see if this coin is magnetic, I just stick it on it, see if it picks it up. And that works good enough for me, and I don't really worry about something like this scratching it. So that's all I've got. Hopefully everyone can evaluate where you are in your collecting journey and figure out what you need next for your collection. Or maybe if you are looking for a friend of yours on what to get them for Christmas, maybe there's something on this list that is really good. But I hope to catch you next time. We're going to show off some more coins. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.